Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I also talk to my spirit guides all the time. And today I'm going to talk to them and answer your questions, your specifically political questions that you have put in my chat. Thank you so much for sending those to me. I really appreciate all of your support. As many of you know, I was just at Sedona at Linda G's amazing retreat that she's done in Sedona. It was my honor to be there. It was absolutely a blast and just a magical experience. I know that those people that were there agree with me. It was truly like we were transported to a different planet for a few days, and we just had the most magical experiences. So thank you, Linda G. Thank you guys for supporting me. Whether you were there or not, I felt your love, and I just want to say thank you so much. Now, let's get started. Listen, we got some pretty big things here that we need to talk about. Sister of Six is letting us know that it's recent news, probably yesterday, if not today, that she just read that some senators received satellite phones in case of a disruptive event. What is going on? What is this possible disruptive event? Okay, I'm going to put some things up on the screen. So first of all, I want you to understand that all 100 senators were offered a satellite phone. 50 senators so far have taken them up on the offer and gotten their satellite phones. We don't know which 50 have taken them up on the offer to get the phones, and we don't know what 50 haven't. We also know that the idea of satellite phones was part of a security kind of group that got together and talked about Jan 6, right? It was all because of Jan 6. Look, what are we going to do if we are sequestered in, the Capitol again? And what if they jam the signal of the phones? We really need to have some kind of extra security, right? And so this was supposedly the impetus of them getting satellite phones. I will tell you that the right, according to the things that I've seen, are freaking out, saying that the left is going to do some kind of false flag event, and it's going to have something to do with the election, and it's going to have something to do with Biden. And unfortunately, this is where we are, right? This is the landscape that we're living in right now. And I really feel like if they publish the 50 senators that took the phones, we might be surprised, right? We might be surprised that they're not really Democrats, that they're all Republicans. We also need to understand that I do think, now I'm a psychic and a medium, right? I'm not telling you the news. I'm telling you what I'm picking up energetically and picking up psychically. So for entertainment purposes only. But what I get is, whereas, yes, the sergeant in arms or whoever it was that sort of helped create this situation where they got the phones, I think there was in the original. That's not true. It's not. I'm not translating exactly right. I was going to say in the original, idea formation of getting these phones, that it was very much about Jan 6 and security. But actually what the guides interrupted me and said was that's not exactly true, that there were some other energies that had ulterior motives, that were other motives. Okay, so here we are. I'm not really big into conspiracy theories. I mean, that may surprise you considering what I do for a living on YouTube, but I really try to be conservative, and I try to really not say anything that's just, batshit crazy. But here we go. When I go into this energy, I don't see a lot of the Democrats getting phones. I mean, some Democrats probably got phones, but I don't see a mad rush from the Democrats getting phones. I saw a mad rush of the Republicans getting phones. So when I go into the energy, surprisingly enough, I don't get that. I mean, there is a little energy around a false flag. There's a little energy around some distraction, and there's certainly energy around not being able to communicate and wanting or needing for safety and democracy and whatnot to communicate. So there is that energy. There is energy that there are some known information, chatter about some potential for the grid or the cell phone towers to be knocked out. Now, the thing is, you know, if it's just like knocking out, they're saying it's just like knocking out the power stations, the substations, right? These idiots will shoot at the substation and knock the power out for this particular part of the city or whatever. Same thing with cell phone towers, right? They shoot out a cell phone tower. Well, you know, I can't call grandma, right? It's not like the whole country goes down and no one can talk to anybody. I don't see that happening. So I don't think that's really a risk in the way that you would think if you saw this headline about disruptive event. Now, could they knock down the satellite reception for the Capitol? Potentially, yes, right? Because it's a very specific targeted area. So yeah, I mean, I could see that. Do the senators need satellite phones, or do the Capitol Police or the sergeant in arms or the speaker, or the, not the speaker, but the leader, you know, or whatever it is, right? The head of the Senate, the minority, the majority whip. Do all 100 need satellite phones? You know, so there's something there that's bugging me, because it's not what they're saying it is. That's what's bugging me. And I don't think, whereas I just said there's a potential for that kind of disruptive communication, I feel like the reason for these satellite phones is so that these yahoos can talk to other countries without being tapped or taped. That's what I think. This gives them their own communication source that's out of anyone's, you know, earshot or anyone's listening device. Now, they could have listening devices where they hear one end of the conversation, right? But to capture the satellite phone communication or dialogue is an order of magnitude harder than capturing a cell phone. Okay, so they basically, what they've given themselves is a secret phone line, and that's why they all rush to get them. And number two, as the guides mentioned, the right is going crazy, saying that the left is planning something, right? And so you're likely to see, they're telling me, these Republican senators, I got my sat phone, I'm ready for the invasion, right? You know what I mean? And then fill in the blank. It's either they're going to be invaded by trans people, or, you know, illegal aliens, or UFOs, or the Democrats. I don't know. There's always somebody invading them. You know, there's always reason for fear. So these sat phones are really ticking off the whole conspiracy theory. And we all know that the Republicans speak out loud what they're going to do. So if they ordered their sat phones and they're, you know, digging in, then they're likely going to be doing something. So that's what I get on the satellite phones. The primary purpose is truly to be able to call up their boss, and we know where they live, or call up, you know, their mob buddies or whoever, and make their deals without the FBI or the CIA tracking them. But we all know they're dumb as rocks. So they're likely calling on their sat phone an informant. So I'm not worried about this, because truly they're dumber than a box of rocks. So I believe that the CIA and the FBI, that are the majority of them, are and have sworn, allegiance to our flag. There's a few bad apples everywhere, but I feel like we're smarter than them. And I feel like they're going to be found out for whatever it is they're doing. So that's what's going on with the satellite phones. In my opinion, I don't know what you're getting or other readers are getting, but I feel like once you peel off all the layers at the nut, the base of it is the fact that some senators need to be able to call their boss in another country without anybody knowing it, because things are heating up. Their butts are on fire. So we'll see how this plays out, right? Thank you for your question, Sister of Six. Now, the next really loaded question, if you will, is from Sue Perkins. Sue says 30 tons of ammonium nitrate shipped via rail on April 12th, 23 from Cheyenne, Wyoming to California has disappeared. WTF is going on? Well, that is alarming, right? And there's reports about this. They know that they think it disappeared, not in California, but I think in the desert Southwest somewhere. And it has disappeared. And it is 30 tons. And this is the same explosive that was used on the Murrah building in Oklahoma. And it was recently exploded in a port somewhere else outside the United States. So this is a very explosive stuff, and that's a lot of it. And what happened was somehow that material was taken off of the train. So what I read, and I'll check with the guides, but what I read is the rail car itself ended up somewhere, but the product that it was carrying is missing. So when I go into this energy of the ammonium nitrate, I feel like I'm getting pulled south. I'm getting pulled kind of close to the border, like the Mexican-United States border, right around not El Paso, but maybe Brownsville. I don't know. What is that? There's an area that's not, it's just down there by the border. So what I would ask them is, why? The $1 million question is, why is it down there? And who took it? And what are they going to do with it? So why is it down there? Well, the first thing I got was that it's worth a lot of money. It's actually worth a lot of money. Isn't it fertilizer or something? I mean, I don't think it's per se, it is explosive, but I don't think it's an explosive, if you understand what I'm saying. It's a product that's explosive. It's worth a lot of money. Yeah, right. So I think it went through Arizona. I think it went right through there it went into Texas, went down, straight down into Texas. Open market, black market, black open market. It's too big. It's too much to, sell, right? Hey, I got 30 tons, you can put up a yard sign, right? Like that. It's too much to sell. It's too much to make disappear. So they're breaking it up into smaller, parcels. They're still big parcels, but they're smaller than 30 tons. And I think that's a rail car worth. I think that's one rail car worth. So I feel like they're breaking it up into vehicle car worths. Not that they're transferring this by vehicle, but. And now I'm seeing like a dump truck. So why are they doing this? Where's this stuff going? Open market. They just keep saying open market. So anybody who wants to buy it. So who has the stuff? Who stole it? Well, indirectly, I'm getting a cartel indirectly. So a cartel. Now that I feel like there was someone there were many people involved, starting with where the product was taken. That person feels like they're either a train employee or they're transportation employee. They either work for the state as a transportation, like a whatever you want to call it, transportation employee, or it's a guy. It's a big guy, a tall guy, broad shoulders, probably 6'3", big guy, white guy, and he's wearing a safety vest, like an orange safety vest, blue jeans, and the belt buckle, the boots, the roper boots. He's okay. Well, so it turns out that this all went wrong. So, right. So I can't promise you guys that this stuff isn't going to show up somewhere in a bad way. I can't promise you that, because it's on the open market. Anybody can buy it. But what happened was, according to what I'm getting from this guy, is that they have this ring where they take product out and they put product in. They sometimes take product out and it's blamed on hobos or people that steal from the trains, right? It's blamed on rural expanses where there's nobody and a train stops and a truck pulls up. But this is the target. This ammonium nitrate is the target. And in the past, they've taken it, but they've only taken as much as you could put, I see a dump truck show up with a thing on the back of it, like a little bobcat kind of thing that drops down and loads the dump truck and then gets attached to so maybe they're taking 25% of the load. They don't take the whole thing, right? So then it's just easier. What ends up happening, they're showing me, is when the load gets to the next place and it's 25% less, people say that it's 100% there, so they don't have to fill out the paperwork, right? Plus, how you going to look at that and go 25% is gone? You're going to be like, that doesn't look right. Well, I ain't going to mess with it. I'm going to sign off on it. So you just pass the buck to the next person. And then in the end, when the product is at the end of its travels, that's when someone may say, this is short. What happened? And everybody's like, I don't know. I was here, nobody, everybody's pointing their finger at everybody else, right? So that's how they've been getting away with it. But some big dummy took the whole thing. So this was also because there was another faction, be it a cartel or a mob or whatever you want to call it, another crime ring that wanted to set up the crime ring that's been doing this and been siphoning, right? Siphoning product off, not tipping their hand that they're taking the whole thing, siphoning some off. So this other crime ring came in, took the whole thing, right? Because they've only done it once. But this other group, this tall guy, he's been doing it for a year, right? So they're likely to, the law is likely to focus on these people. So it was also a way to set these people up, right? To take the fall. And then they'll take over their territory, right? But the problem is they got this stuff, they don't know what it is, and they don't care, and they're selling it on the open market. So that, folks, is the problem. Now, when I first leaned into this, I got the fact that the ATF and this stuff is really monitored. So, I mean, if you go around trying to sell this stuff, you're going to be caught pretty quick. So I feel like even though it's loose and it's on the open market, I feel like the likelihood of it being discovered and reclaimed and those responsible arrested is pretty high. I mean, I would give it 90 to 95%, but that gives us about a 5%, right, chance that some dum-dum is going to get this stuff and do something with it, including across the Mexican border. This very well could end up crossing in some way. I mean, you know, there's bribes, there's ways these things happen, could cross the Mexican border, at which point it could be used nefariously or not. So that's what I get for that. I don't think these two things are related. I don't think the satellite phones are related to the ammonium nitrate. I don't think that there's a great big conspiracy false flag getting ready to happen in that way, in this way, with the sat phones and the ammonium nitrate. I do believe that these yahoos would love to have nothing more than to have a big problem that Biden has to take care of. So if they could do something, they would, right? They really would. But so I'm not ruling it out. I'm cautiously optimistic that it's not going to happen, but I cannot rule it out because they need this kind of distraction. But this kind of thing where they can really gin up the fear. Oh my God, the senators have sat phones. We're going to be under attack. You know, the preppers are going to start prepping even more than normal. And this is really what is fueling these Republicans and their bad behavior. And when I say these Republicans, I mean your neighbor, you know, all these people around you that are acting, that are trigger happy because they keep getting fed this steady diet of fear. And I just want to point out, nothing bad has happened in this order of magnitude, right? So try not to buy into the fear because it makes you crazy. It makes us, well, we're terrorized. We're being terrorized, right, by this fear. And that's why they're acting so reactionary. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for your question, Sue Perkins and Sister Six. Okay, DL Jersey Shore says, will Biden have to invoke the 14th Amendment in order to get the debt ceiling passed? Now, I had the extreme good fortune to have been in two separate cars with the most amazing psychics for the last couple of days. I've been writing, you know, with Mel Dorr and with Linda G and with Jen Lynn and with Debbie Freebird and with Kim Intuitive View. And so we've been like, you know, talking the politics for hours as we drove from Phoenix to Sedona and vice versa. And I have to tell you that all of us all agreed that and this is good news, but I mean, you know, it's irritating that we have to wait, but it seems like the energy suggests that we're going to get to the 9th hour. We're going to get to the edge of the cliff. And then something's going to give. I know so we all agree that the debt ceiling is going to get raised, but we all seem to understand independently that it's going to be at the last minute, which is frustrating. It's no way to run a country. It's certainly no way to run a country. It's no way to run a business. It's no way to run your life, right? Doing everything at the very last minute with the threat of this immense, terrible, bad things that could happen. So now, as far as the 14th Amendment goes, I do see that Biden has it in his back pocket. I mean, it's as if he's taken it out of its case. You know, he's already broken the glass. he's taken it out. He's put it in his back pocket. It's on him. It's like, if I need it, it's here. I can whip it out and use it. So it's in his back pocket. But I also know or sense that he doesn't want to do it. He just does. I could go into it, why he doesn't want to do it. It's, he's mad. He's mad. He's like, this is the way our country works, right? The House does its job. The Senate does its job. The judiciary do their job. The executive branch does its job. This is how our country has been set up. This is This is how it works. And he's really loath to do anything that would circumvent that. And the 14th Amendment circumvents it, but it's well within his power. But the way he sees it is every abuse, and I'm saying abuse, so I guess he thinks it's an abuse. Every abuse of power leaves an opening for the next guy or the next girl or the next president or the next party to use that or abuse that power too, which is really and truly the Democrats' MO. We don't want to expand the Supreme Court because we don't want to abuse the power. Then they'll extend the Supreme Court. It's like an arms race, right? They never want to do anything because they're afraid the Republicans are going to do it against them. Well, I have news for you. Let me grab the camera by its little cheeks. If there's anybody watching this video that has anything to do with Congress or Biden or the Senate, for the love of God, they're going to do it to us anyway. They're going to do it to us anyway. Haven't we learned that? Saying I don't want to do it because they're going to do it against us is BS. They do it against us anyway and more. So the arms race is already in action. We're the ones not racing. So I feel like a lot of his cabinet wants him to do the 14th. I feel like Kamala wants him to do the 14th. When I go into his energy, it's like he has heartburn about it. Like he's like, it shouldn't, this isn't right. He does not believe it's right. Number one. Number two, if he pulls the 14th out of his pocket, then it goes to the Supreme Court and it gets struck down, we will be in a crisis. We will absolutely be defaulting. We will be not only in a fiscal crisis, we'll be in a democratic crisis because SCOTUS will be, pretty much blood on their hands, killing the democracy, along with, the House and McCarthy and his, traitors. So I guess, he doesn't know. He's not 100% sure that he can count on Roberts and the Republicans in there to do the right thing. So I think he needs to be at 11:59 before the clock strikes midnight to do that. He's going to wait until 11:59, the clock strikes midnight to do that. And what I feel like is going to happen before then is, the people that, so I'm going to explain this to you guys again, because if you understand this, all this makes a lot more sense. The way I understand it is, you can draw a line down the Republican Party and you can put them into two camps. There's Liz Cheney, who believes that the American oligarchs should make all the money, right? They believe that the American business people should make all the money, should have all the profit, who should be the number one person in line to benefit from the United States of America and our production, our GDP. Then you have people on the other side. Those people believe that it's okay if the number one country that benefits from America is Russia or China, but mostly Russia. So their allegiance is towards Russia oligarchs. Now, in my opinion, the Republicans are all about somebody else making a dime off of all of us. And us not getting anything, not even health care, not even control of our own body, not even safety in our schools or our malls, not even the right to vote. Certainly not safety if you're any other color than white. But what it boils down to is that one camp is like, no, United States oligarchs are going to make this money. And the other camp is, no, Russian oligarchs are going to make this money, right? So that's what's driving all of this. And if the debt ceiling crashes, if we can't pay this bill, Russia's going to be thrilled because it throws America into chaos. And it's good for them. It devalues the dollar. All of a sudden, China's dollar, quote unquote, Russia's dollar, quote unquote, Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, all of their currencies are king. And the United States dollar is in the basement. And that's why they're wrecking our debt ceiling, because they're answering to somebody else on their sat phone. And that's why Liz Cheney is like, no, we're not going to crash the debt ceiling. We're not going to give our money to Russia. We're going to give our money to these rich Americans, these rich American corporations, darn it. So when I go into the last minute debt ceiling crisis, this is where, for once, the corporations in America are going to say, no, you're not going to do this to us because I'm going to lose money. JP Morgan Chase is going to lose money, right? No, that's not going to fly. You're not going to hurt me with your little petty Russia stuff. That the end result is the robber barons that are American will stand in and say, no, get your act together, pass this, and we're going to get it done. Now, the problem with waiting till the very last minute, well, there's so many problems, but the problem I'm going to talk about right now is that because McCarthy and his Russian friends, and I mean the American Russian friends that are in our House of Representatives, don't care about crashing this puppy, they don't care. So Democrats do care. So Democrats could blink in the end, right? They could get so freaked out that this is going to happen that they could capitulate, that they could give in to one or two demands. Now, I don't think they're going to give in to the demand that we're going to get rid of Social Security but I think that they could give in to some demands that are minor, but will hurt them with Gen Z and hurt them next year. And I don't think anybody is going to accept any explanation. Well, we had to because of this. I just don't think Americans they're tired. They're tired of being mansplained to. They're tired of being political splained to. Well, I had to do this because no, we don't care. We don't care. We're going to get in the streets. We're going to get ugly. We're going to get loud. We're going to tell you how we really care and how we really feel, and you're going to take notice. So that's something that could be playing out, that at the very end, some little capitulation happens, and that would be a real shame, because if Biden would use this 14th, he may be able to sidestep all of them. But he just doesn't know if he has SCOTUS in his pocket. He does not know that, and he doesn't want to risk it. And Biden is risk adverse. He's not going to gamble with the United States of America, right? I mean, and that's what we like about him, right? We like the fact that he doesn't gamble us away. So it's complicated. But overall, I see us coming through the debt ceiling. Okay, look, if we give away one little thing or another little thing, it's not the end of the world, because honestly, a lot of these people and their sat phones are going to be arrested. They're going to be locked up. And then we're going to have a new chance at fixing all of this. And that, I keep telling you guys, is the only reason why I'm still broadcasting from the United States of America. If I thought this was going to go south, I would be broadcasting from another country. It's going to be okay. We've got some bumps, we've got some lumps, we've got some letdowns, and we've got some big wins. Meaning all of this is going to be a rocky kind of time. But the end result, and again, I just came from a conference of psychics, of really good psychics. We all agree. 24, Democrats take it all. Democrats take the presidency, they take the Senate, they take the House. Are we going to have, like +5 or +10 in the House or the Senate? I don't think so. But we are going to have more than +2. So we're going to have enough to have a majority. We may not have a supermajority. We're certainly going to have a majority. Plus, those Republicans that are left that haven't been carted off by Jack Smith or Fani Willis, or who by that time, who knows who's going to come cart them off. The ones that haven't been carted off are going to be terrified. They're going to be speaking in their high voice. Play real nice with everybody. Because their knickers are going to be, all wadded up. It's going to cause them to use their high voice. So they're going to be working with Democrats. They're going to sit down and they're going to be nice. Another question I'll just jump to, I know it's in here somewhere, is about Trump running. Right. So yeah, he's going to run. Nobody said he wasn't going to run. He's been running. He already announced he is running. What we said was he wasn't going to be president. So this whole thing with Trump, and now with Scott, with his, the only black senator that the Republicans have, they lassoed him, and they're throwing him out there to run against Trump. And DeSantis is going to run against Trump. So what I see is, I still see DeSantis going down for all kinds of criminal things. He just goes down. They just keep showing me him tripping and falling, and it could be because of the leg irons around his ankles. Big dummy starts trying to run, and Jack Smith or somebody went click, click, and he didn't realize it because he's too busy banning books and the word gay and pretending like racism doesn't exist. So when he starts running, the dummy falls down out of the race. So what I see, and Trump has threatened publicly to disclose about DeSantis and anybody else who runs against him. He's got the goods. So if you think Trump is going to go down without taking down 3 or 4 or 5 others of those, you got another thing coming. Because he's going to take them all down. And Trump is going down. What is happening with Trump right now is that, so Fani Willis has said, okay, so maybe now, not until August. What happened was, and the guide said this 2 years ago, that, and they said it with Garland. When they find one piece of evidence, they get this piece of evidence, and they're like, oh, this is great. This is it. This is the thing. This is all we need. And then in their due diligence of looking at this evidence, they find this evidence. And then the due diligence of this, they find this. And pretty soon they're renting extra warehouse space for all the extra evidence they've been finding and hiring more people, which is true. So the case keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're going to unleash that on him. It's going to be the deadly shot. You know what I mean? The shot that takes him out. There's not going to be a lot of wiggle room to do delays or to do countersuits there's not going to be any wiggle room. It's literally one shot, you're down. So the other thing that's happening is that Fani is not working with, but in communication with Jack Smith and Garland. And Fani was asked, and what I'm getting is Fani was asked to put it off, wait, give us 2 months. Give us 2 months. We've got some sources. We've got some witnesses. We've got some things cooking over here. And if you launch your, harpoon at the whale, it's going to scare all the fish. And we're not going to be able to lock up what we need to lock up. So just give us 2 months. Chill out for a minute. Let us get our sources locked down so that when you do your hit, ours are still secured. I still see Jack Smith reaching over them and taking Trump and saying, my federal charges trump state charges, and pulling him and saying, I'm going to take him out first But the thing that Fani Willis does is Fani Willis takes out everybody else, right? Whereas I think Jack Smith is really focused on Trump and Eastman and Meadows and perhaps, you know, a Matt Gaetz or a, what is that guy's name I'm seeing? Jim Jordan, but not Jim Jordan. You know, these people that are kind of in Trump's orbit, I think Jack Smith is definitely going to include, but Fani Willis is going to go a little further out, right? So she's going to be getting those Lindsey Graham and, you know, all those fake electors have all turned state witness. You know, there's nobody on their team. Their team turned state's witness. So there's something very specific about the timing with this. Everybody needs to have all their stuff loaded, ready to go at kind of the same time, because they just want, yeah, right. So what they're saying is they don't want to take Trump and draw all this out over 18 months. They want it all to be as compacted as possible so they can keep the damage to the smallest amount of window of time possible. So otherwise, if Fani Willis did her thing and it drug out for 3 months, and then Jack Smith and Garland did their thing and it drug out for 6 months, it's just very destabilizing to our economy, very destabilizing to our democracy, very destabilizing to our way of life. So what they've decided is pack it all together, send it out at once, knock them out. And the guides have said this last year. You can look on my channel. I have a video saying timeline, and I was excited about it because it said basically what's happening now. It said Trump was going to get indicted in March, and then over the summer, the wheels of justice would be moving along, and then in the fall, boom, 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 and he's gone. Right? And that seems to be the timeline. That seems to be the timeline that we're following. So I kind of jumped ahead and answered some other questions. So I answered the next question by Julie Worcester. Sorry about that, but I didn't answer your question. Let's see, this is an interesting question. Nope, I answered your question too. Polar bees enter sanctum. I answered your question. Okay, you have another question about Dianne Feinstein. Is she mentally capable of being back in the Senate? Or is Nancy Pelosi pushing her to be there to help retain power? How long will she last? Because she really seems to need medical care. So what is happening, and I asked this question of Linda G. and Mel because I didn't understand the actual mechanics of the problem. I get what you're saying, Polar Bee. I get that. I said the same thing. I actually feel sorry for Dianne Feinstein that they had to wheel her back into the Senate. But the problem is that if she steps down, and the governor of California appoints a senator, that senator doesn't go on the Judiciary Committee. Dianne Feinstein is on the Judiciary Committee. The new senator will have to be appointed to the Judiciary Committee. Guess who's going to block that? McConnell. So we need Dianne Feinstein to get these judges approved. And so far, Biden has approved like over 200 judges, but no judges are getting approved without Dianne Feinstein. So yeah, they're forcing her, they're pushing her. I mean, I don't know if they're forcing her, but they're certainly encouraging her strongly to come back to the Senate and vote, because without her, judges, as we've learned, the reason we're in the mess we're in now is because of all Trump's and McConnell's judges. That is the reason, right? It is the reason. So this is of utmost importance to get these judges in. Now, if, according to what I learned from Mel and Linda, if Dianne Feinstein crosses over, then the rules are different. This is what I may be wrong, but this is what I understand. as she crosses over, the person who gets appointed gets to fill her judiciary role. So there's a distinction. If she steps down, they have to go through appointee process to get that new person into and McConnell's going to block it. So that's where we are with that. It's not about Nancy Pelosi keeping power. It's about Biden getting judges. It's about the United States of America saving our democracy. So if you think about it like that, she's a hero. She's one hell of a hero, right? And McConnell is a satanic demon. So that's what I would say about that. I think I answered your second question about Trump. And Susan Tyler, a friend from Texas. Hi, Susan, and a wonderful artist. Please read on the near future and beyond of Abbott, Patrick, driving it into the ground. Yes. Well, timing is difficult for all of us, apparently, not just me. It's definitely difficult for me. I see Abbott stepping down. Okay, so I knew that Beto wasn't going to win. I mean, I donated a lot of money to him. I supported him. I bought his t-shirts. I did everything I could to support him. I wanted him to win. I needed him to win, but I knew he wasn't going to win. And the reason he wasn't going to win was because he wasn't supposed to run for governor. He was supposed to run for senator. And that's that. He has free will. He chose to run for governor. Second of all, if he won the governor race, his life would have been at risk. So I didn't want him to win. Towards the end of the race, when I learned that, when I finally figured it out, I'm like, well, I hope he doesn't win. He didn't win. Okay. Now, regardless of that, Abbott is going down. I've always seen Abbott going down. He is connected to some groups, and I'm not going to go into detail here because these people have a lot of power, a lot of power, beyond law kind of power. He's connected to some groups he shouldn't be connected to. I see him going down. The guides just said it's his own fault. He's going to go down of his own actions, and I see him going down. I do not see him serving out his entire governorship. I do not see. I'll ask again, is Beto going to be governor of Texas? Right now, I get no. So in the next 6 months, I get no. The best path for Beto, if anybody knows him and he believes in the psychics, and this was his best path last year too, he chose not to. I get it. I have free will. I don't follow my own guides. I was supposed to take sneakers to Sedona. Did I take sneakers to Sedona? No. Every day, did I wish that I had taken sneakers to Sedona? Yes. So I get it. The best path for Beto is to go to Washington, D.C. He's really not that safe here. His family is not that safe here. He needs to leave Texas. He needs to go to Washington, D.C. He needs to take up the job offer that I know Biden has already given him. He needs to put his kids in school in D.C. He needs to give his family a break. He needs to give him a break. He needs to kind of elevate to a higher level. And from there, in about a year, he can come back to Texas. I just want him to be safe, right? And I think that's the best thing for his family. So Abbott's going down. Patrick's going down. Abbott and Patrick are somehow connected in their, things that they're doing that may be illegal. This is for entertainment purposes only. And you said Phelan, but I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's a misspelling or if I just don't know who that is. I know who Abbott is. I know who Patrick is. I feel like that whole gubernatorial, his cabinet, the lieutenant governor, the AG, are all going to be dismissed. They're all going to go down. They all have dirty hands. They have dirty faces. I don't know what that means. It's like they have dirty hands and they weren't paying attention and you went like this and now you've got like dirt around your mouth. Maybe that means they're speaking something dirty, or I don't know why that's an unusual thing that they showed me, but I just see like fingerprints on their face that are like when you have dirty hands. So it's going to happen. And for that, for Texas, I'm happy for that to happen when it happens. I don't need it to happen right now, because again, if they only got one shot of this, I want them to have everything they need. So when they level their charges, it's a straight shot, and it's a fatal shot, and they all get taken down by the law. Whew. Thank you, Susan. Okay, Ton says, question is, will Representative Jamaal Bowman be safe now that MTG has targeted him by claiming she feels threatened? So there was this kerfuffle. I guess this Jamaal Bowman is kind of a big guy, kind of a tall guy, African-American, kind of big shoulders. And apparently he's a teddy bear, but he is a big guy. And MTG and him got into some shouting match. And now she's saying that she's threatened by him. And your question is he safe? He is safe. He's got divine protection. He feels like Warnock to me. I just got chills. And it's not that they're both African American. It's just that some people have divine protection. It's like, get out my contract. It says right here, I'm supposed to be a senator, or it says I'm supposed to be doing this, and I'm doing it. So step off, That's the kind of energy I have around Jamaal Bowman, is that he's divinely protected. Like things that try to attach to him just slip off of him. He's going places. He's going places. She's not gonna. I'm not saying that she won't, that something may not happen, like his tires get slashed, or his house gets egged, or there's a rock. I'm not saying things aren't going to happen. I'm saying he is safe. Okay. So there's a distinction there between harassment, terrorizing, and safe. In the end result, I feel that he's safe. But it's always a good question to ask. And I always tell you guys, if you forget Jamaal Bowman, if you got your local school board person or your local mayor, help them. Those are the people we need to keep safe too. If their kids are out somewhere, keep an eye on them. Takes a village. We got to keep everybody safe, especially if they're of some other race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. Everybody's us. We need to all stand together. So pay attention to your local politicians, and give them the help they need too. Okay. Thank you for your question, Ton. Becca Lynn says, was there a chance that you guys put your psychic brains together and figured out who the Republican nominee might be? I'm not sure if I can handle a repeat of 2020. No, Becca, we're not going to have a repeat of 2020. Well, I don't know what you mean about 2020. Biden won in 2020, but I get it. The matchup of Trump and Biden. Yes, we did. We put our psychic brains together for 2 hours. Literally. That's why I feel so much better about things. It's not just what I'm saying. Like everybody else was like, oh yeah, I got the same thing. So that was good. Here's what I feel like is going to go down. I kind of talked about it, but I'll say it in this way, is that Trump is the kingpin. You can take that for what you want. You know what I mean? He's the kingpin of the Republican Party. His detractor is DeSantis, and he's going to go after the DeSantis. DeSantis is going to get taken down either by the mouse or the IRS or campaign violation funds, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Okay. DeSantis, I see getting tripped on his leg irons. Trump kind of lasts a little bit longer, but then he also falls down. Now, Trump, this is true. I think it was Linda who said this, but I don't know. Somebody said this. It's like it might have been Mel. Trump gets almost to the point where he's going to be arrested. Like he's been indicted 50 times. He's going to court. He's defending himself, allegedly. And he gets to the point where we're finally going to get everything that we all need to be mentally sane again, convicted, guilty. And just before that, boom, keel's over from an MI. And that's just wrong. That's wrong. I don't care if I have to have timeout in heaven for being malicious or whatever it is I'm being right now, but it's wrong. He should have to, I should benefit from him having to pay his dues. This is, by God, this is America. Anyway, so either way, he's gone. I did see him. I really have seen him personally. I've seen him in this, and I've been saying this for 2 years. And other people have seen this. Not connected to me. In a white room, it could be padded, and there's no windows. And maybe if somebody's really nice, they print out a 16 by 20 picture that looks like you're looking out the window at McDonald's. But it's really just a picture of McDonald's on the window. There's no window. The point is that he's locked up and he cannot have communication with anybody. Nobody. He can have his pajamas and they can say president. He can have his make America great or make America get attorneys, make MAGA get attorneys, whatever. I don't care. He can have all that stuff. I don't care. What I do care about is he cannot have contact with the outside world. If he has any contact with the outside world, we know what he's going to do. He's going to crime. He's going to grift. So I see him in this room. And the only people in there that go in there are orderlies to take care of him, to give him his Big Mac or whatever it is. He's, I don't care. I gladly put in for the fun for him to eat Big Macs every day, 3 times a day, if he's locked up, right? I don't care about that. The orderly, and it really has this feeling of Guantanamo in the sense that that's the level of security. The level of security is far beyond any penitentiary that we have in the United States. The orderlies are searched, and I mean strip searched, coming in and going out. It's a hell of a job, right? I hope they pay them quadruple. And, maybe they should just hire Democrats. So I don't know, but he's not going to be our problem. Again, I see Democrats sweeping the House, the Senate, the presidency in 24, because by 24, a lot of these people are going to be locked up. And whether Trump is dead or locked up, I don't care. He's not going to be a problem. Okay. So don't worry. I had independent confirmation by every person that you guys watch on YouTube over the weekend. I mean, independent confirmation. I feel really good about it. So hopefully that makes you feel better, Becca. Fed Girl says, question 1. What does August, December, and after this, I might close this puppy down and do part 2. Just watch for part 2. This is a good question, though. What does August, December period this year look like for justice? It seems like a lot of indictments will fall in this period. You're right, Fed Girl. That's what the guides mentioned earlier, the timeline they gave me. And now we know that Fani Willis, it seems like she's chosen August to start her or level her charges or start her court case against 45. I personally, that's when I see everything happening. The way I see it is August through I was going to say September. So August through September, indictments, right? Charges. Everybody gets a charge. You missed a charge. Here's your charge. Nobody misses their indictment. Everybody gets an indictment. So then what you have is discovery. Now, I personally think that the indictments are going to start you could see indictments as soon as June or July. And then they start picking up speed around August through September. Then you have discovery, right? Everybody gets their fair chance. Everybody gets their day in trial. The discovery process is the people you just indicted gets to understand what the federal government or the state of Georgia has on you. And then you get to build your case based on what they have on you. So that gives Trump and all these other people, 3 months to get their case built. What I see is then in January and maybe December, to be honest with you, but December, January, that's the court trials. And I feel like personally, I'm going to have a really good Christmas this year. So we could have convictions in December and January. And the way the guides have said it, and they've never backed off of this energy remains the same. Then in February, that's when the remaining Republicans that aren't in leg irons are talking in their high voice, right? And they're like wanting to play nice with the Democrats. That's when you start to have bipartisanship. It's like the principal walks in the room and everybody sits up straight and gets their stuff all together, right? That when those indictments, when those convictions happen, those people that didn't get convicted are going to start acting right. They're going to start trying to rewrite history. They're going to try to pretend like they weren't Nazis and fascists. Okay. So they're going to start working with Democrats. And then that's how we start 24. We start with cleaning up some of these problems, right? We start with some real legislation starts getting written that could impact, anything that we had to give away for the debt ceiling will be corrected next year, and more to it, right? It's almost like when you lose 5 pounds and you gain 5 pounds back, but no, you gain 10. You always gain the 5 back plus an extra 10. Well, we're going to take our 5 capitulations back and add 5. We're going to gain 10. So we're going to not only fix it, but we're going to add more to it. So I'm pretty excited, to be honest with you, other than just living through this really rocky time where you've got everybody armed to the teeth and you don't know what any of their mental statuses are. That's the part that scares me. But overall, politically, things are moving in the right direction. And I have every confidence that all of this is going to happen the way the guide said, because what they've been saying has been the same for so long that means that the energy is really settled. If I tell you they say something, and this is the first time they've said it, by next month, free will of this person, or that group could really affect that. But when they've been saying the same thing for 6 months, a year, or 2 years, then that energy is settled. It's now a matter of timing. When will it happen, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here. I will do a part 2. I just got back from Sedona, and I just did a Way Out Wednesday, which was really, really interesting. It's on crop circles, but my audio did not work. So I have a video going like this. No, unless you read lips, you will have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. So I've got to re-video that. So I'm going to get busy on that. Thank you so much for watching to the very end of this video. And you know what? I was really feeling the love in Sedona. I feel the love for you guys. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it. I truly, truly thank you and appreciate all of your support. Thank you, and thank you. Okay. Take really good care of yourself. I'll be in touch soon with part 2. For entertainment purposes only.